Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So the update is out. I already uploaded Yondu's pre and post buff damage, and now we're going to be taking a look at Deadpool X-Force. So obviously pre-buff Deadpool X-Force had about 4 or 5 lines of text. Basically his Sig ability let him bleed on contact. Stronger the bleed, the higher Sig. My Sig star happens to be Sig 80, so not somewhere in the middle. And then he has bleed on level 2 and level 3. That's virtually it. No immunities, nothing extra. As bare bones as a champion as we can get. So let's check out his damage pre-buff. And I could have finished this fight probably. Oh no, it actually, yeah. We're just going to be going for level 1s because I remember when I did the initial recording, it failed. And in that one, I did drop one level 1 and one level 3. So we're going to be just spamming level 2s for that chunkiest bleed that we can get. I do have max deep wounds for Deadpool X-Force, no liquid courage, no double edge. Mastery setup is going to be exactly the same in every single video, but that level 2 hitting for 2k is just quite pitiful. However, here's going to be the thing. Deadpool X-Force's damage is actually much better than many other champions, even with significantly more substantial hits, substantial abilities. So none of the numbers look overly aggressive, but just the fact that there's always some sort of bleed ticking in the background when we drop that level 2, that bleed ticks there for a while as well, for like 1100, and he's doing things, as in like Winter Soldier is, going down. Obviously, there's also the class advantage, which you can't ignore, which, increases the attack by 20%, but still, even with that, he's faster than Yondu was, for sure, much faster rotation, easier, less finicky, no ramp up required, and he's definitely going to finish this fight quite significantly faster. We can see that, again, we can play very aggressively. There's absolutely nothing to the champion. And I'm not going to spend too much time with the old version of Deadpool because we all know exactly what it is. So I did finish out the fight. I think it was about 270 hits. Ironically, the previous fight where I did drop the level 1 and level 3 was slightly quicker, but I think it was slightly quicker because I had a slower pace in that fight. Anyways, doesn't matter. So here we go. That's Deadpool. 4 minutes 35, 274 hits. Now we're going to synergize him up. One of the synergies was just the stat increase, and the rest of the synergies are Omega Red, Psycho Man, and Domino. So the synergies respectively increase the bleed damage, they increase the amount of combat power rate Deadpool has against bleeding opponents, and Psycho Man synergy lets him inflict armor break, which obviously is going to help us a bit more with damage. So we got the armor break, we got beefier bleeds, and we gain power quicker, which is actually going to matter quite a bit here. And we can see that here he was taking for like 1500. So that is quite noticeable difference. But the biggest change here is that I'm gaining significantly more power. And that means I'm getting to my level 2s quicker. With that, I also must add the fact that since I am not doing 5-hit combos all the time, but I'm also weaving in the heavy attacks where I can in order to get the armor breaks, that means by default my hit count would be lower just by having altered the playstyle. So the synergy decrease in the amount of hits, it's going to be exacerbated, helped a little bit more by the fact that I am throwing heavy attacks in this fight as well. And again, there's not much to see. It's the same rotation. Just maintain the armor break and spam your level 2s and watch the Winter Soldier go down. And in this case, we're actually going to get him down in 190 hits and 4 minutes and 15. So not too bad. Definitely a lot less hits and slightly faster if we compare to before. As expected, obviously, because Synergy Team is meant to help you, not slow you down. So it was 415, 190, 270, 435. So actually very minor improvement in speed, but definitely major improvement in hit count. Right, and now we have the update. Yeah, now we have the update, and this was very first fight. So immediately I'm going to tell that I'm not familiar in this first fight with his animations, and I'm not too sure what is going to be his best rotation. I'm kind of testing out the new basic hit animations do look much better, I must admit. It does look like a modern, brand new champion in that type of sense. And I was also trying to figure out how to gain those skipping things. I was hoping that you can get them by dashing forwards, but no, you actually do have to do that skipping where you don't touch the screen. And that alone is kind of like a slight deal breaker with me. Now, later on, I do figure out how to manage it more effectively. But whether it is something that I want to do on a regular basis, not so much. So this first fight, I'm obviously not aware of the better rotation, and as I said, I'm still not 100% sure, but I think I kind of figured it out by the end. And the idea kind of is to throw your heavy attacks as much as possible, because that pushes Winter Soldier further back, and that lets you do some skipping in. So whenever you do throw your heavy attacks, you can get some of your charges or whatever they're called. So with level 3, obviously you increase the potency of your bleeds, which is super important. And then at that point, you do want to throw your heavy attack, putting up those 10 bleeds from the heavy attack. And we can see that Winter Soldier is ticking away for like 3k there. Now that, in longer fights, is definitely also the best rotation. You just kind of want to spam the heavy attacks, trigger the power gains to get your level 3s quicker, and basically just heavy and level 3. Which kind of is going to bring me to another problem. I don't think I want another champion like that. A lot of these buffs and reworks have ended up in basically parry heavy champions, which is something that Deadpool X-Force is yet again. He, I think, in a lot of situations, will have to be basically parry heavy. And it's not the playstyle that I enjoy the most. Now, there are a lot of interesting things about him, but combined with that, in my opinion, somewhat risky and slightly impractical thing of him having to skip forward, and then you having to be able to parry at all times, opponent having to be obviously not bleed immune or being able to deal with bleeds, and this playstyle in general, I'm not too sold on it. Now, damage output definitely has improved. I will throw some different special attacks in this fight as well. So we can't really judge exactly from this fight how different is the damage output. But I will have a few follow-up fights there as well, where I kind of try out different rotations with him. But as I was trying it out for a longer fight, I genuinely did realize that with level 3, the opponents do seem to be going down quicker. So the level 3 thing is definitely what you want to go in kind of a longer fight. So here we can see again, I'm at my 10 charges. So I'm going to drop my level 3. Wonderful. That's going to give me that wishes buff. That's going to increase my bleed potency by like 75%, I think. And then I drop my heavy attack, put on my ton of biggest bleeds. And this is, as far as I could tell, also basically the max damage rotation. I might be wrong. Again, that's the best I was doing with him, pretty much. Again, at some point I think towards the end there, or at this point, I will be starting to try out different special attacks, obviously, because I wanted to see the animations as well. And you can see that level 2 does look cool, but it just doesn't really do anything. You do put that passive stun on, but unless you are very far in your map, you can only get a few skips there in. And it just didn't seem to be worth it at all. Now, with the way it is right now, obviously it's going to be much harder to dex. And if you don't dex the level 2, you're going to get those taunts placed on you, which will reduce your attack value quite significantly. And here we can see that without the Wishes buff, I'm only doing about 1700 bleed. So it's much less potent. And the other thought that I had, maybe spamming level 1s, because that's another way how to get a lot of bleeds. Well, more bleeds anyways. But it just didn't seem nowhere near as impressive or quick in a sense. So yes, after kind of messing around, I think I'm just going to go back to doing the level 3s and the heavy attacks, because that's also the easiest way how to get those walk down charges, or I keep forgetting how they're called. Now I have like 11 bleeds there. I'm going to go for level 2, but we can see that how little damage is being dealt with those level 2s. Yes, again, we do get the stun in, but we just kind of skipped in there. It's not the biggest deal in the world, I would say. So, as little as I have played him, and I'm definitely not giving up on a character. I will mess around with him, and I'm definitely going to be interested to see what other people think with him. Unfortunately, they have somehow managed to give the most fun character kind of most annoying things that I dislike in champions typically. I dislike if they are solely reliant on parry heavy attack unless they're like exceptionally good. He's also obviously tied to bleed debuffs as his damage source. He's also seemingly, for most damage, forcing you to go to level 3s at all times. So, on paper, it's definitely not something that I would personally enjoy too much. Level 3s, parry heavy, tied to bleed. Now, it is quite fun, and that skipping mechanic is a bit odd as well. Now, obviously, we did quicker. It is more damage there and everything. So 198 hits to 270, and I'm sure that you could do it quicker. And I think this team, this is already with Synergies. So here I use the same Synergy team, basically, where we gain more power and where we're going to be... Oh, no, wait. This isn't... Oh, no, this is, again, without Synergies. My bad. This is still without Synergies, but I'm just going to be trying a different kind of rotation without the level 3s, but eventually I just go back to it. So I did try this out, and again, it just seemed to be going a lot slower. I did get tagged somewhere. And then eventually I just go back to level 3s. Because the fight was dragging. The fight was dragging, comparatively speaking, to before. And yes, this one was 159 hits. But I don't know. I really don't know which one's better there. I think I just kind of got a bit better with the character. So we got him down 159 hits without Synergies. And this is now with Synergies, and we're going to be going with the level 3 rotation, which basically is going to be parry heavy. Then after your heavy attack, you can always get 1 or 2 of your skippy charge things. And obviously that also lets you keep your towns up more. And be getting armor break for the heavy attacks with the Psycho Man synergy. And that is going to be the entire thing, basically. Parry, heavy. And that heavy does throw opponent back quite a lot. Now, there will be a few times in this fight, like here, where I don't know why I didn't connect. I don't know how he managed to punish me. Again, if we push him back here, so you can see again, so skip forward, that's fine. I connect my heavy attack, and I was charging heavy attack, and I let it go, but it still, Winter Soul just kind of run through it, so I'm not entirely sure what happens. Sometimes I do get to spam my heavy attacks, several times in a row, should I choose to, if opponent is at corner. And sometimes Winter Soldier just seem to run completely through him. So, again, I might be playing the character still completely wrong. I'm very new to the champion. Obviously, he does have more abilities and it's not as straightforward. This one I messed up myself. I'll put it straight up. So, the entire plan is going to be here. Get the 10 charges, throw your special 3, throw your heavy, get those 11 bleeds for 3k. But thanks to me gaining power quicker, and thanks to me this time around triggering that power gain more often, we're going to see that I pretty much all the time have that Wishes buff active. And those bleeds are doing quite significantly more damage. And there I'm getting my charges again. And I am easily able to get to 10 charges on my way to level 3, basically. And upkeep that Wishes buff pretty much the entire fight. Or almost the entire fight. Here again, just drop that heavy attack. Skip forward, sweet. I'm at 10 charges. So we're going to drop it again. And that is going to be pretty much the rotation there. And yeah, those bleeds do quite a lot of damage. And that is definitely clear that obviously he does have more bite to him. He does have more abilities. So here we're closing in. Those bleeds are absolutely eating him down. And this was 103 hits, 3 minutes 59. Now 103 hits for a 6-star rank 1 without Liquid Courage double edge boosts. Very good. 3 minutes 59 is not that great of a time, obviously, because involved us getting level 3s and spamming and kind of slow playing a bit. Overall, what I think about him, I'm still quite undecided. Now, this is definitely a greater result, so he does have much higher damage ceiling that he used to have. At the same time, again, he does kind of combine the biggest taboos for me in the game. Dependence on special 3, dependence on parry heavy attack, and then that odd skipping thing that can often invite mistakes. Because you're trying to get those charges and you're trying to basically not touch the screen for as long as possible, and if you mistime yourself, you get hit in the face. And which obviously is something that you do not want to be doing in Alliance War. So, I still haven't reached my conclusion. There are definitely fair few things being against him, but that at the same time, there's something very fun or interesting about him that I do kind of like. Definitely want to keep my eye out on the champion. I will want to mess around, play around with him some more. And I think my alliance mate, White Mummy, took him to rank 3. So I'll definitely ask him what he thinks as well, and perhaps get some rank 3 footage for you guys. Being said, let me know what you guys think about Deadpool. I'm still not sure. He's definitely much better, but whether he's a champion that I will enjoy and you will enjoy, I'm not sure. Either way, well, let me know what's your initial experience. I'll see you guys soon.
Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the